Hello everyone, Nobby here. Just thought I'd do a tutorial explaining how to make custom levels for KingSpray Graffiti Simulator. It's not bad, you can come up with some pretty cool results. There's a few bits and pieces which I'll have to explain before we start, and there's a lot of bits and pieces that I'll have to explain as we're going through. But I'll try to cover as much as I can. Right. The first thing I should stress is this will only work if you have the Steam version. If you have the native Oculus version or you have the Quest version, you cannot add custom levels. It can only be the Steam version, and it has to be the dev beta. So if you don't have that, don't make a level because you can't use it. Well, you can make a level and give it to other people, but you've got no way of testing it yourself. So right, so we're going to start off. It's going to be a fairly basic one. It's just going to be a floor and a wall. Now, I'm using a 3D application that most people won't have. So while the individual things that I'm doing will be the same on every program, they might be called something slightly different, or you might have to hit a slightly different button. But for the majority of things, all 3D applications are the same basic principles apply. So we'll make a start. So first thing we want to do is make ourselves a nice floor, or a crap floor if you want. So we'll make it 10 meters by 0 meters because we want it to be infinitely thin by 10 meters. And that will give us a 10 by 10 square. 10 meters by 10 meters square, I should say. So that's good. We shall give that a surface and call it floor. Now I will bring in my surface editor, which was on the other one, and I'm just going to change that to be a little bit lighter. It's easier to see. Now, on this program, you use layers, kind of the same as how you use layers in Photoshop. All that equates to in most other programs is this is one object, this is the next object. So it doesn't really matter as long as it's not all done as one big object. It has to be done as smaller chunks. But we'll explain as we go along. Right, so we have our floor, which is there. So now we will add our wall. And we will make that 3 meters. And we'll make it 1.5 meters tall. And we'll have it 0.25 meters deep. So it looks like a bit like a wall. Now, what else I will do is I'm going to select that front polygon and I'm going to bevel it a tiny bit, just so it puts a bit of an edge on the wall. It's just so it's not looking at it like that, where it's just square corners. You don't have to do that. You can if you want. You can make a wall that's a circle if you want. It really doesn't matter. Right, so we will call that, we'll give that a surface called wall. And we'll make that a bit lighter as well. Okay, so first thing we want to do is go back to our floor, and you want to create a UV map. So we will call that floor. And for these items, it doesn't really matter how you UV map them. You could do it as planar, you could do it as an atlas map, which is otherwise known as a unwrap, I think it is. But as this is just a square, we might as well just do it as a planar. And as we're looking at it from, we're going to be projecting down onto it from the top, we'll want it in the Y direction. Do that. Now, if we go to our UV view, there it is. It's very nice, and says we got one going on there, which is cool. So now we'll go to our wall, and we want to give that a UV map, and we'll call that wall. But this isn't a flat sheet, it's a cube, so we want to atlas map this, or unwrap. There we go. Let's have a look. Okay, that is top. So what we will do is move that up there. And then move everything back down. That means that front one, yeah, so the front one is at the bottom there, because you have to account for the fact that paint drips, and if it's above the other ones and it drips down, actually no, that doesn't matter. Sorry, ignore that part. This is the UV map to be able to texture it, to put like a brick texture on it or something like that. This isn't fixing the painting, the actual spray painting part. So ignore that last section. So that will work. And now what we will do, I'm going to load a couple of images, which I have already. And then I will call up my shader thing again. Connect the color to the color. You don't need to worry about setting up all the materials for it. So if you've got like color map, normal map, specular map, things like that, you don't need to worry about doing all of them. Just give it the color map. That'll be enough. So that's bricks, and it was a UV map, and it was wall. No, that's the wrong one. I'm stupid. Okay, that was floor, and the UV map was floor. And yes, there it is. UV mapped with our floor texture. Okay, now we'll switch back to our wall, and we'll connect a material to that. And that will be bricks, the UV map, that was wall. Okay. Now those bricks look a little bit big, so we're just going to scale up the UV map. It makes it easier if we can actually see the bricks. So yeah, that's close enough. Kind of looks like a brick wall. Lovely. There we go. Although I can see some issues with the texture map. Might as well fix them, because I'm a bit pedantic like that. So through it. There we go. That looks roughly right. Right. So, regardless whether you make your own models or if you download your models from somewhere and they already come pre-textured, that's fine. Basically, all that will do is get you to this point, which is fine. But you will need to do stuff in the 3D editor after this to make it compatible with Unity and with KingSpray. You need to set things up a particular way. So that's our brick wall object as a whole, but we want to be able to paint on this front part. So what we will do is select all those polygons, cut them, paste them to another level, another layer. So now we've technically got 3 objects. Now, if you've seen any of the other tutorials, they generally tell you that you need a render object, which is the thing that you can actually see, like the wall, and you also need a collision object, which is an exact duplicate of it, but it's invisible and it acts as a barrier. And that is actually what the paint hits. The paint doesn't hit the render wall itself, it hits the collision object. The paint collides with it. But if it's not a very complex object, like this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 polygons, you can get away with just using this object on its own. And you just tell it that its collision mesh is itself. And we'll do that when we're in Unity. So we have this wall, and this is where things start changing. So we now create a new UV map, call it UV1. And this definitely has to be planar, and we are looking at it in the Z axis. Have a look. Z. So we want to apply this in the Z axis. And there we go. I turn off. Okay, you can see it a bit better. There we go. Now we need to duplicate this 2 more times. So where's it gone? Edit maps. Vertex map. Call it UV2. Edit maps. Copy vertex map. Call it UV3. So we have the actual wall texture, which is mapped to the wall UV map. That one. And then we want 3 extra UV maps that are all planar. Now, let's have a look. I haven't joined anything back up together. I'm just showing 2 layers at once. And what I will do is, there we go. I will put them on the ground level, and I will tell you for why. This here is 0, 0, 0. It's right in the center. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because once you get into Unity and you have to add other items like the player start point, it doesn't actually matter where you put the player start point. It will always seem to start you at 0, 0, 0, 0. So what we're going to do is get the wall, move it backwards. And that will work perfectly fine, like that. One more thing I'm going to do. This is just my layers panel. It's basically the list of objects. So what we're going to do, we're going to name these floor, bricks, and wall. Okay, so our floor has a UV map called floor. It can be called anything you like. And we have texture assigned to that object using that UV map, which is the floor one. On our other object, our brick wall, we have a brick texture, which is assigned by using the wall UV map. We have the render wall here, which also uses the wall UV map. Where's it gone? There we go. But it also has 3 extra UV maps. They are not assigned to any materials. You don't want to do that. You just need to leave them unassigned. Unity and KingSpray will take care of the rest. But as far as this is concerned, it's ready. It's finished. So, what was it I was gonna... Oh yes, so it's 1.5 meters by 3 meters. Okie dokie. We will save that. Tutorial. That's just in my program's native format. But the important part is export as FBX. Now, doesn't really seem to matter which FBX version you use. Mine defaults to FBX 2012. I also have this Unity 3D mode. Does it? If you have that, turn it on. It might make it a bit more compatible. I honestly don't know. The old version of this 3D app never used to have that option, so it didn't really matter. One that does matter a lot, scale scene. Normally, scaling is turned on, and it's trying to scale it down to 0.01% of what it should be. Now, what that means is when you load it back in to Unity, it's not going to be 3 meters by 1.5 meters. It's going to be like 3 millimeters by 1.5 millimeters or something to that effect. So to avoid all that and to keep it still in meters, just turn the scaling off. You don't need it. So we will do that, and we will call that tutorial FBX. That's good enough. Now, if you are good at your housekeeping, you will have created a project folder in your 3D app. Give it a name like tutorial, and you want to give it 4 folders: images, materials, objects, and scenes. Then what you can do is, actually I'll just show you. In the images was my images, my textures, nothing in materials yet. In objects I've got my native version of the object and the FBX version, and there's nothing in scenes at the moment. So we will copy the entire tutorials folder, and we will go to documents, KingSpray, assets. I've already set a tutorial folder, but there's nothing in there, so we'll paste and combine both of them. There we go. Move that out of the way now, and we'll switch over to Unity, and it's just complaining because it needs to update all the folders and everything, which is fine. Here we got our material, our images, nothing in materials, our objects, and our scenes. So the first thing we want to do is create a couple of new materials, because we only actually used 2 materials. There was the floor and there was the wall. So floor, actually I'll give it a better name. Tut floor, tutorial floor. Tut wall. Right, so we'll select our tutorial floor. and we will assign, no, what did we call, oh, I know what we called them. Bricks. Let's select the right one. Yes, good. Okay, and the, hang on, I've just realised that's the floor. And I'm assigning bricks. Sorry. Okay, so. Doing it the wrong way. Let's try again. So, tut floor. And then tut floor normal. And it'll say, oh, this isn't a proper normal map. Fix it. Okay. There we go. That's the first material done. And then we want the wall material. We got tutorial bricks. And we got tutorial normal map. It says it's not a proper normal map. Fix. Yes. And the material updates down there. Okay. So now click on our object. Now it's got lots of expandables, but we just want to click on the main thing there at the moment. It says we've got two materials, which are the two surfaces, which are what we assigned in the 3D application. So you want to click first one, which is floor, and select the material that we've just made here in Unity, which is tutorial floor. And then we want to select the wall and apply. You notice down there it changed slightly because it assigned new materials. It's very nice. Now we have a look at floor. Got 1 UV. Have a look at bricks. It's got 1 UV. If we have a look at the actual wall that we're painting on, we got the first UV, which was what the brick texture is assigned to. Now we've got 1, 2, and 3. We've got 3 extra UVs, which aren't used by anything, which is good. Right. Now we can add all that. Oh, I just forgot to mention something. Okay. Now the problem is, most people build things in the Z-axis, which is the normal way of doing it. But KingSpray works 90 degrees to the right. So you want to build everything, or you at least want to arrange everything in the plus X-axis, which is that direction. So what we will do is select all of that. It's actually going to be minus 90. There we go. Now the other thing that I prefer to do is take all 3 items, take them out of that folder, because, well, not the folder, that's like the main object name, and then these are the parts that are within it, but you don't need that main object name. It just gets in the way. So we have our wall, our floor, and our front bit. So, right, first of all, we'll work on our floor. I have a list of things that you need, and they are there. At the moment, we're working on the floor, so we want a bundle tag called teleport, and we want a mesh collider, and the colliding object will be itself, the floor. So I'll move that back out of the way. Add component, bundle tag, and that's going to be teleport. And then mesh collider. It's already selected it, floor 1, which is what the name of it is. If you're doing it how I explained earlier, if you've got a complex object and you actually have to have a separate collision object to the render object, then you just select what that would be instead. It's pretty straightforward for that part. But that's the floor done. We'll now do the bricks. There's actually nothing that needs to be done to the bricks. And then the wall. This is where things get a bit interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4 items we need to put on this. So first one will be a mesh collider, and we're going to select, it's already pre-selected it, the wall, which is what we want. And you make sure it's not convex. There we go. The next one is bundle tag, and we want paint surface. We then want a shader script. That will be paint metallic. And then we want a canvas brush setup. Now, this is where things get a bit tricky. So, we know that the wall was 3 across by 1.5 up. Now, what you do is, if you imagine 1 meter of wall is 1024 pixels. It's not actually a set number, it's just the easiest way of working, because everything has to be to the power of 2 regarding the textures. So you might as well keep it nice and simple. So calc. So if we know that 1 meter is 1024, we will go, and we know the wall is 3 meters wide. We will go 1024 times 3. That's 3072. Now we only use the resolution medium. That's all you need to use, the X and the Y. So that's 3072. And we know it's 1.5 high. So that's 1024 times 1.5, which is 1536. That's lovely. That's its lowest ratio. That is a 3. That was 3 by 1.5. What we could do to give our spraying result, what we actually put on the wall, give it a higher definition, what we can do is double these up. So instead of being 3 by 1.5, make it 6 by 3. So we can do that. Let's calc. So 1024 times 6, 6144. And now I've just looked at the number, but I've completely forgot what it said. So 1024 times 3, 3072. Okay, that part is all set up now. Like I said, if you was working, what makes it a bit tricky there was I was working with odd numbers. I was working with a 3 and a 1.5. If you work with like 2, a ratio of 2 by 1 or 4 by 2 or even 4 by 1, it makes it a lot easier because you're not working with such odd numbers then. Right, there's something else we need to add, because while we can paint on that wall and we can teleport around this floor, which means we can move, there's nothing to stop us teleporting into the middle of the wall. So what we need to do is create a 3D object, a cube, which is there, and we will go, I actually want to stop anyone teleporting past that line, not just through the wall, or anywhere along there. So we know that floor was 10 meters wide. We know it was 1.5 tall. But for safety's sake, we'll make it 2. And we know it was 0.25 deep. And we will position it, seeing that it's positioned right in the middle of the wall, and it was 2 meters. If we raise it by 1 meter, that puts it exactly on the floor. We'll move it back. What we want to do, we want to get it as close as we can to the front. That'll do. Goes the entire width. Now, there's a couple of things that we need to do now. We don't want to be able to see this cube, so we turn off mesh render. And we need to add, for collision objects, we need to add a bundle tag that's camera collision. What this does, this stops you teleporting past it, and if you put your head inside that box, you get the out of bounds warning. So we will do that. And that was a bundle tag, and it was camera collision. Okay, that's set up. I don't know why I decided to do that, but that's fine. So we have our floor, which has our teleport on it, and a mesh collider, and the collision mesh that it's using is itself. We have the bricks, which is the back of the wall, and that doesn't have anything assigned to it. It doesn't need to. It's essentially just a decoration, no different to a tree. We have the wall itself, which has a mesh collider of itself. It has a bundle tag, which is a paint surface. It has a shader setup script, which is paint metallic, and it has a canvas brush setup, and we're using the resolution medium to set how big the image is going to be when you paint on it. Not the image that you take with the camera, but if you actually have a look in your save file, you get the photo that the camera takes, and you also get just the raw paint. Now, these numbers are for what is that raw paint image? How big is it? So the bigger it is, the better quality it's going to be. One thing I should mention, and it happens quite a lot, if you don't get these two numbers correct, like if you had a 4 meter by 2 meter wall, 4 meters across by 2 meters high, that's a ratio of 4:2, or its lowest ratio is 2:1. You just halve the numbers if you can. So it's a ratio of 2:1. So if you wanted, you could have that 2048 and 1024. If you had that set at 2048 and 2048, when you spray on the wall, it will be oval, because you're stretching or squashing the image in a particular direction. So you want to try and figure out what your ratio is, so you know what numbers to use, and then you can either halve that amount if it's quite a high number, or double that amount if it's quite a low number, to give you a nice working resolution. So we've got that. Now we need to add a couple more things. These are requirements. We have the KingSpray bundle bundle creator, sorry. Now it gives us several things. I'll put links for all this stuff down in the bottom of the video so you can go and get it. But what you'll do is, once you've got the KingSpray Bundle Creator Unity package, you'll install it into Unity, and it gives you all this stuff. It gives you some example scenes, gives you some audio, which is very nice, and the materials and things. But the part that we are interested in is props, prefabs, because it comes with these items, which is the player start, the boombox, the little wooden box that you can stand on, the ladder, an oil drum, big scissor lift, and the worker spotlight. But you need 3 items from here to make it work. The others are optional. They're just things you can stand on. So the first one is the loading. Now, for some strange reason, on mine, I don't know if it will say it on yours as well, but the bundle tag that's automatically assigned to it says climbable. And climbable means that if you grab it, you can pull yourself up and down. That's not what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a loading canvas. Change that to loading canvas. Then you want to rotate that around. Make sure it's rotated nice and square, so that's 90. And then just butt it up as close to the wall as you can. So we'll get it there, that's close enough, and put it about head height. About 1.6, yeah, we'll do it 1.7, so it's a nice clean number. Okay, so that's a loading canvas, and it's positioned roughly where we want it, because when you start, you'll see the little loading icon in front of you. The next thing we need is the player start, and for some strange reason it can't be seen, so it's because it's in a different location. So we'll set it to 0, 0 and 0. There we go, which puts it bang on the center spot, which is fine. You could move it backwards if you like. It's not going to make any difference. You'll probably still start there on 0, 0, 0. But we'll give it a try. It might suddenly work. I don't think it will, but it might. And its bundle tag is already set to spawn point, which is fine. And then finally, we need the boombox. You must have a boombox in your level for some strange reason. I don't know why. So we'll set that to 0, 0, 0. And you actually want to raise it up very slightly. 0.3 will work. If it's sat directly on the floor, when you start it up, either the boombox will vanish, it will fall through the floor, or you'll get 2 for some strange reason. I don't know why. If you do get 2, just either rotate it slightly or lift it up slightly. You generally just have to move it a little bit, and that'll be enough to make it suddenly work. So we've got the player start, the loading icon, and the boombox. That should be everything. So we can close all that up again. Now we want to save a scene. Save scene as, and we'll call it tutorial level. Okay, that didn't go to plan. Where did that just save? Ah, okay. I didn't actually save it in the folder. Come on, what's going on? You know what? I'm going to delete that scene and I'm just going to resave it. Save scene as tutorial scenes. There we go. Yes, we want to replace it. And there it is. Now, We also need to give it a bundle name. So down to here, do new, and I'll call this one tut level. And in this box where it says none, you'll have to click new and then type KSP in that box. And that is the file extension. So it's like a KingSpray package is the easiest way of thinking of it. Now, just to be on the safe side, we'll save that scene again. Now we can build it. Just right click on the scene and click build asset bundle. Things will disappear and then they'll come back after a few seconds. And that means it's done. There we go. Once it comes all light again, because as you saw when it come back on the screen it was all dark. Once it goes light again, it's finished. So that's ready. What we can do now is, now for most people you won't have to do this because it automatically does it for you. But in your documents, KingSpray Graffiti, which is where all your saves are and your music, if you put any in there, it'll be there. And we've got two files, tut level and tut level manifest. So what I'm actually going to have to do is copy them to my other computer, because this is my graphics computer and my VR is on my other computer, which is my games computer. So I'll copy those two, but it's essentially going into the same folder, just on another computer. So we'll copy those, back in 32, just 10, documents, KingSpray Graffiti. So you got like all your save game folders, and you'll have the bundles folder. We'll copy those two files into there. Right, now I'm going to have to pause the video and switch over to the other computer, carry on recording there, so we can actually see it load in and we can try it. So I will see you in just a moment.
Okay, so we're back. We're in KingSpray, so we'll go single player. It always seems to do that little weird jiggly thing if you've got a custom in there, I don't know why. But there it is, there's our tutorial level. So there's a wall. Because we've got the collision box there, you can't teleport past it, you still can't teleport past it. You can actually cheat. If you go right up to it, like that, and you put your hand through, you could teleport behind it. But you're not going to get a lot happening. So we'll come back to the front, we'll give it a try. Is it going to work? Yay! Obligatory. Penis man. Oh, we've got to make it official. Penis man! And it works. And because that edge was also part of the map, it allows us to paint on the edges. So there we go, that's cool. So that's the very basic how to get a level made in KingSpray. And essentially any other items, if you have like buildings or trees or it's in a tunnel, all that sort of stuff, you treat that exactly the same as we treated the back of the wall. That's all decoration objects. It has no bundle tags or collision objects or things like that applied to it. It's just a straightforward object. So you can find trees online and places like Sketchfab and things like that. You can download it, convert it to FBX if it's not already in FBX, bring it straight into Unity and just start stamping it down all around the place. So, right, we will now switch back to Unity and I'll show you a few more things because we need to know about things like lighting and various other stuffs. So I will bid thee goodbye. Actually, I'll clear that first. Right, so yeah, I'll see you back in Unity. Bye. Ah, my eyes. Don't get paint in your eyes, that hurts. Right, bye.
Okay, welcome back to Unity. Time to do a bit of lighting. Now, as you can see, our light here, which is this one, is actually pointing towards the back of the wall and towards us, which means it casts a shadow in front of the wall. Now, you may have noticed when we was actually in KingSpray, we didn't see that shadow, it wasn't there. It's because KingSpray doesn't handle real-time lighting. So what we have to do is we have to bake all our lighting. So what that means is it calculates up where all the lights and all the shadows are and things like that. And it records it as a big texture map. It's essentially the same as using an ambient occlusions map on a 3D object. That's all it really is. In fact, that's exactly what it is. So what we need to do is we need to bake everything. So anything to do with lighting, we need to tell it to be, if it says it's real time, we need to set it to say it's baked. So first things first, if we switch over to the lighting tab, and at the bottom it says auto generate, you just want to turn that off for a moment. You can turn it back on again in a minute, which means it will calculate the lighting, but if it's turned on and you start moving anything or tweaking anything, it has to recalculate new light maps, and we don't need it doing that every time we touch a particular setting. So we'll leave that off for the moment, and then when we're ready to actually bake our lights, that's what we'll do. So select your directional light, and straight away the mode there, it says real time, change it to baked. Then that should be okay. Then we come back over to the lighting tab and we've got various options for how the environment is lit. Now we can have the default sky dome if we want, which is that one, but I've actually got some more. All these, it's a pack of 15. You can download them for free from the asset store. It's called the Classic Skybox, and I'm going to use number 6, I think. Yeah, which roughly matches the direction of our light as well, because our lights come in this way, and so is our sun. It's up there and coming this way. That's good. So, skybox material, selected that. The source is the sun source is our light. Our environment lighting comes from the skybox. Ambient mode, that says real time. Change that to baked. Down here, real-time lighting, turn that off. We don't want real-time lighting. Baked global illuminations, well, that says baked. That's good. We want that. Come down to light mapper settings. It says enlighten. Generally, you use it enlighten for real-time lighting, which means it's no good to us in KingSpray. But if you change it to progressive preview, that's more set up to give realistic lighting effects on baked lighting. So that's set to baked lighting. And that should be it. We can hit auto generate. Oh, it's done stuff to the lights, but we have no shadows. Why? I know why. You have to tell anything that is not moving. So if it's a static object, it's not going to move anywhere, such as the wall and the floor and any walls if you happen to have them. You need to tell them that they are all static objects. So that would be the floor, the bricks, which is the back of the wall, and wall, which is the front of the wall. None of them are moving. If we switch back to inspector, and up here it says static, you could just tick the static box there and it sets them up for lots of different things. But we only need two things. We need light map, go up to there again, and we want reflection probes. Now it's calculating it again. You look there at the bottom, calculating what's going on. Give it a few seconds. And there we go. That's actually baked our shadow. So that shadow now is actually a picture saved somewhere. So if we was to save that again, File, save scene, and then do build asset bundle. Go off and do its thing. Dumpty dumpty dum. Takes a little bit longer now. Not sure why it has to bake that again. I think if we turn off auto generate, it'll just use what we've already told it to bake. Not sure. We'll try that in a minute. Be fun. There we go. Let's finish baking it. Just packaging it all up. And it's done. And it seems to be baking again. Don't know why. Okay. We let it do its thing. Then we're going to turn off auto generate so it doesn't keep updating. Give that a second, or 15 of them. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. There we go. Right, we'll turn off auto generate. It doesn't do anything else. Okay, so we've saved it. Let's go off the screen. Documents. KingSpray Graffiti. I want the tutorial level and tutorial level manifest. And I will copy them back to my other KingSpray folder. And KingSpray Graffiti, bundles, just overwrite the previous versions. Okay. Then we switch back to Unity, switch back to KingSpray, and we can see if our shadows work. So I will see you in just a moment.
Welcome back. Right, let's have a look. And we now have shadows. But, unfortunately, we're stood in the light here. We're stood in the shade there. And everything looks exactly the same. So the shadows are on the floor, but the shadows aren't interacting with me. And also, if we grab the boombox, you can see it better there as well. If you pass it into the shade, it doesn't get light or dark. So, we still need to do something else, and that is called light probes. So, I'll quit out of KingSpray and jump back to Unity, and I'll show you about light probes. So, see you in a minute. Bye.
Okay, so we're back in Unity, and it's time for light probes. So we need to create light probe group. Now the light probes are these yellow dots. The easiest way of explaining it, what they are, is they are samples of light. and whichever one you are nearest to, that is the one which will affect you. So if you had one inside the shadow and one inside the light, if you're stood near the shadow one, everything will appear dark, and as you get closer to the one in the light, things will start getting lighter and lighter. So the way this works is, first of all, let's move the light probe a little bit. Just above the ground. It's trying to, is it? No, it's not. I thought it was trying to generate lights again. Lighting again. It's just getting ready to try and do it. Put that one very close to the wall, very close to the floor. Now, essentially what we're going to need to do is have, if you notice, there's 4 corners to our shadow. So we want 4 inside the shadow, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we also want 4 outside of the shadow. So we'll add some more. But there we go. So click on the inspector. First thing we want to do is edit light probes. Click that button there. What that allows you to do is select some. So what we will do, we will move those ones inside, and we will also shuffle those over there slightly. And we'll select those 2. You want them fairly close to where the corners are. Do the same with those ones. And we'll do the same with those ones. Put those there. I'll move that one and that one a little bit closer to the corner. Now what we want to do is duplicate some of them. So we'll select those 4 and press Ctrl D. And then we can move those just outside. And we'll do the same on this side. Ctrl D. Duplicate those and put them just outside the shadow. What this means is, while we're within these 4, which is within the shadow, things will be dark. As we cross from this one to this one, things will get light because these ones are sampling from the light part. What we'll also do is move those 2 just outside. And we'll do the same with that one and that one. That should now allow us to pass in between. It is very, very nice. And I'll just quickly show you one more thing because it's the final part, but it's kind of important. We want to add a reflection probe. Now, as you can see, our reflection probe is basically just looking at what is able to reflect. So first of all, we'll edit the box and grab some of the points and start moving them. So we want that essentially just below the ground. Move that there. All this is a box that says how far do you want that reflection to reach. So look, this is a 10 meter by 10 meter. So is the box actually. But if we had more terrain around it, but we only wanted this reflection to affect things within that 10 meters, you keep the box like it is. But if you had a big open space, then you want to go in and you'd set the width, things like that. And what it means is, while you are within that box, you will receive receive what that silver ball sees. So we don't actually need it that wide because we're never going to go outside that area. Make it just slightly bigger. That'd be good. And actually, if I leave that slightly short, I'll bring that in there. Right. We'll backlight him once more, because we've now got reflection probes in there as well. So we'll auto generate now we've cleared it. Let it do its baking thing. It's baking, not bacon. And once it's finished, I'm going to try turning auto generate off and saving. See if it tries to generate again. Hopefully, I don't think it will. Can do as well to turn the box editing off because we don't need it. So there we go. It has baked. Turn auto generate off. Save the scene. And then build the asset bundle again. Now hopefully it's not going to try baking more light maps. Please work. Please work. There we go. Got to wait for it to catch up. Not totally sure why it's so dark. Just want to try that again. Three reflection probes. There we go, that's a little bit better. There's the actual lighting information. It's very nice. What we'll do, click save. And we'll build the asset bundle one more time. And it shouldn't ask us to generate everything. Should have saved it. Yes, there we go. So once you've built your light maps and your reflection probe maps, turn auto generate off. It stops it from doing it. It stops it from building it every time you do anything. So what's left to do? Oh yes. Documents, let's have a look. KingSpray Graffiti, bundles, take our tutorial level, copy that, and we'll go back over to the other computer. Documents, KingSpray Graffiti, bundles, and replace the previous ones. Okay, so I'll switch back to Unity and hopefully everything should be recorded. All the light maps, all the reflections, it should all work. So I will see you back in KingSpray in just a moment.
Okay, so we're back in KingSpray. Let's have a look. Right. Now, straight away I can tell the can looks lighter. So what we'll do is get close. Yep, if you look at the back of the hand, where all the red, when I step out, it's brighter. When I go back in the shadow, it's darker. But as I says, the easiest way of telling is to grab the boombox. It's nice and light there, and it goes darker there. Nice and light there, it goes darker there. And also, if you have a look in the reflection, like in the chrome here, might be a bit easier to see there, you can see the sky, and there's the wall reflecting in the handle. But as I said, this we made the reflection box shorter than we actually need it to be. And there's not much difference, but you watch the top of that reflection, watch the top of the chrome. See how it changes? That's because it's coming in and out of that reflection area. So now it's not receiving all the reflections, it's just seeing the background. If you have a look, that's the horizon that you can see. It's actually the horizon over there. But if we bring it back in, hang on, we'll move just a little bit there. There we go. You can see the wall appearing and disappearing. So the area that you want your reflections to show, that's how big you make the box. So the general idea is, if this is as big as your area is going to be, make the reflection box this big. Yeah? And it's back in the shadows. Which is lovely. There we go. So that is pretty much everything you need to know about making a level. Let's draw another penis. It's not a penis, it's a rocket ship. Rocket penis man. There we go. Right, that is essentially how you make a level. Good luck. Bye.